Welcome to CriolloWise Podcast, the evolution of the Criollo breed around the world.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at Criollo horse biomechanics. So we're not talking beauty, we're not talking strength. We're talking about how these horses balance and distribute their weight. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I've got some excerpts here from a scientific study on what's called the Criollo horse's sustainment balance polygon.
Wow.
I know it sounds complicated, but it's really just about how these horses stay upright and why they're so good at it. So understanding this can help you appreciate their athleticism even more, maybe even improve your riding, or just, satisfy your curiosity.
Right.
So where do we even begin with something like this?
Well, I think you got to start by understanding the balance center in a horse.
Okay.
And it's not a fixed point. It's constantly shifting.
Okay, so it's not like our center of gravity. We're pretty much always in the same spot, more or less.
Exactly. And think of it like a tightrope walker, with that balance pole constantly adjusting. So in a horse, this pole, so to speak, is constantly in motion. Every time the head moves, the neck moves, the limbs move. It's changing.
I see.
So the study uses these specific points on the horse's body, like the shoulder joint, to kind of get a handle on this ever-changing center.
I mean, that makes balancing on a yoga ball seem easy.
Mm-hmm.
But horses don't seem to trip that often.
Right.
How do they manage this?
It's all about the weight distribution.
Okay.
And get this. When a horse is just standing still, their front legs are carrying about 60% of their total weight.
60%? That's more than half. It's like we're walking around all day with like a heavy backpack strapped to our chest. No wonder my shoulders ache sometimes.
Exactly.
So how does this tie into the Criollo horse specifically?
Well, Criollos are famous for their stability, and a lot of that comes from their build.
Okay.
They tend to have a lower center of gravity compared to some other breeds.
So like a low-riding sports car.
Yeah.
Hugging those curves. Got a wider base, less likely to tip over, and I bet that helps them a lot in their native terrain.
Absolutely.
South America, all those hills and rough ground.
You got it.
So that lower center of gravity.
Yeah.
Combined with their strong legs and hooves, makes them incredibly sure-footed.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
But there's another thing that can really impact their balance.
Okay, what's that?
That we often overlook. The rider.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I get how our weight, adds to the load. But is there more to it than that?
Absolutely. Even the way we use the reins can make a difference.
Okay.
So when a horse flexes its neck, responding to the reins, that actually shifts the balance point forward.
I see.
Remember, those front legs are already carrying most of the weight. Now they're carrying even more.
Interesting. So something as subtle as how we're holding the reins can really affect the horse's weight distribution.
Exactly.
Huh. And thinking long term, could that contribute to things like lameness down the line?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a factor. And when we look at different types of horses, like a racehorse versus a draft horse, their balance challenges are totally different.
Right. It's almost like comparing different athletes, isn't it? A racehorse is like a sprinter, lean, built for speed, putting a lot of stress on those front legs, whereas a draft horse, much heavier build, more like a power lifter, distributing weight differently to pull heavy loads. Their biomechanics really reflect their jobs.
A perfect analogy.
So it sounds like what we've learned here is that a horse's balance is this really complex interplay of their anatomy, their movement, and even human influence.
It is.
So we've gone from this, complicated scientific term, sustainment balance polygon, to actually understanding how a horse's weight shifts constantly, the Criollo's unique advantage, how riders play a role in all of this. It really makes you appreciate just the intricate mechanics at play every time a horse takes a step.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next time you're watching horses, whether it's just out in a field or even a competition, really think about that invisible dance of forces happening. Their balance is this constant negotiation between physics anatomy and, even the choices that we make as riders.
Wow, some really fascinating stuff to think about. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
You got it.
And thanks to all of you out there for tuning into another deep dive. Until next time.